check out the full profile piece on Italo Ferreira, who is on a heater this year. 2 victories on the championship tour, getting a win at Bells Beach over Mick Fanning in his final event, but also a mind-blowing performance at Karamas.
Haven't really seen him surf much, so I was just hoping he didn't have a flip Toledo full rotation on me on the inside, but yeah, I just felt like I was making the right decision for me. But yeah, wildcards, you don't always know how they surf or how they approach the waves, so I had a heat with him earlier.
Through the rest of the season, we'll have to wait and see, but right now out in the lineup, just over 25 minutes to go, and Wiggolly is up. Seen a couple of waves for Italo, but no big numbers just yet. 3.83 the highest. Italo up at the moment. Sorry, Wiggolly up at the moment. Couple of solid hits, solid timing. On his way to a pretty decent score here if he can finish this one off. Conditions starting to really clean up this afternoon for the last heat of the day, as the former championship tour surfer finishes this one off way down the line.
Now as Italo, we cut to him at the very end. A little smaller wave for Wiggolly as it built down the line. But again, a completed ride in this end section. He produced that fire hose off the tail, the vertical approach, a couple snaps, trying to mix it up. Would have liked to see him connect bottom turn to top turn without the hops at the bottom to really kind of lift the score and elevate the score, but job well done there for Wiggolly. Here's Italo now. Good sized wave, but he was behind it the whole time, so he had to pick up a ton of speed with that snap and that first section, second section, so not have to say anything. You just look at his body language and kind of see how they're feeling.
Well, let's see if he can turn that energy into something positive here. Italo loading up. A really high line to set up this section. Transitioning. Huge floater there. And straight up into the lip once again. Dynamic finish to that ride.
A little more relaxed. Didn't look like he was rushed and not entire wave.
It was a smart change-up because he managed 2 pretty decent turns to finish this one off.
Yeah, and you'd think that this is going to rival the best number here that's been put up by Wiggolly. I mean, his equipment looks good. You know, this is a little bit different approach, a lot more horizontal from Italo, but a lot more speed.
How could you let this one go by? Wiggolly having a look at it. And he decides to go, so loads up some speed, climbs the roof, drops to the bottom, back up into the pocket, just a transition snap to get down the line. Now gets a little more committed.
Error.
But he set the fins free over the back. We've seen him do that a couple of times today.
It seemed like the case there, getting a little bit too much on edge and going down.
One of those painful errors too, wasn't it? Because he only needed a 2.66, so he's going to fall short of getting the lead here.
Well, in that section there was a nice transition floater. You know, it's a good maneuver. It adds some variety, but there, it almost had a little flat spot in the lip, and he, tried to stay up in that critical section, but that's where the board got the release, and he slid off the top.
Short-lived, though, because he lost out earlier to Uluwatu, and now has his back against the wall, up against Wiggolly Dantas here. An opportunity to extend his lead. Wants to get rid of a 3.83. Driving into the pocket, moving a lot of water. Really swift in those transitions off the bottom into the top, but just kind of felt like he was missing that big punchy turn.
After those first 2 waves, and said, okay, settle down. We can do this. And look how glassy it is now as we're getting into that cooler evening time. It is just butter out there. Beautiful snap. I mean, you're right. It didn't have that high impact maneuver, but completed ride.
So without priority, Italo goes looking for something on the inside. This is always great news for us as spectators, because if he's trying to turn an average wave into something special, generally you'll see him go to the air, floating down the line, looking up, really fired up on this ride.
Getting those warmed up so you can, so your ligaments are nice and sturdy. And elastic as well.
4.8 for this one. Does go into the top 2.
So again, it's right there in the mix, but I mean, you're still looking at a 4 for Wiggolly to turn it.
Amazing how quickly he can get that board up into the lip. Wiggolly behind him. And Wiggolly's going to get out of there. Just getting slapped in the back by the lip. And it slows him down too much. He will still be holding on to priority. He is. And he sees potential down the line on this ride. Loading up some speed. Off the bottom, into the lip. Absolutely smashes the first section. Into the hook again. And this wave is looking beautiful as Wiggolly changes his approach. Goes to that carving backhand move now. Up into the lip one more time. Solid finish there.
Right choice here because this wave is so clean, especially down the line. It had a bit of a wall. Look at that first turn. I mean, that is the sparks off the rail. Beautiful stuff. I think this is a wave that, wow, yeah, he got some release out of that maneuver too. Feels like it's going to be the best wave of the heat. And he knows it. This would be a big heat win for him. Again, taking a look and see how patient he was, waiting for that section to build up. And then when he got there, unloaded on it. You know, and again, when you can start a wave off with a really solid turn like that, and then finish with a nice strong move like he did, that release of the fins, it feels like that is an amazing ride, and it will go into the scoreline as probably the best in the heat.
Celebrates. Only needed a 4.06. Right behind him. Italo just not quite getting it right on that one.
Wow.
But what kind of damage did he do on the outside?
Unless something really wild happened on the outside. So here we go. It looked like there was a second wave of the set. It looked like it was going to be a little bigger, but it ran into some whitewater, so not as big. So again, just more transition moves, and then there, the stumble. Yeah, I don't see this going into his top two, so here's Wiggolly.
So let's see if Wiggolly down the line can turn this into something. He's now trying to get rid of a 5.67. Ooh, there's a nice hit. But he's going to run out of room here. The requirement's going to remain the same here. Still a bit of time, but 2 minutes when you're chasing a score in the final stages probably feels like it's going a little quicker than that.
Well, especially at that 6.48, right? So it takes it's not like, well, again, we're talking about Italo, so it doesn't take, that means right there that he's definitely carrying those 13s. Yeah, that's harsh, especially if you're going for world titles.